Princess on a Pillow here. I am here to do my review of Married at First Sight, Season 14, Episode 4. The title of this episode is Bliss, Brunches, and Brawls, Oh My. I think it should be called Throwing You Under the Bus. That's what I think it should be called. And the folks that I liked last week, I disliked them this week. And the ones I disliked last week, I like them this week. So I don't know what's going on. It's crazy. So let's get into it. The first couple we're going to talk about is Elijah, Juan, and Katina. Okay. They wake up. It's the next morning after a wedding. And Elijah, Juan is happy that Katina doesn't have stinky breath. They talk about how wild they used to be when they were single. And yada, yada, yada. Elijah Juan goes to brunch with 3 of Katina's friends. The guy friend was basically doing all the talking. Elijah Juan said he wanted to try something new. That's why he did this process. And the friend basically said that getting married is not trying something new, which I agree with. Trying something new is like getting a new haircut. What is he talking about? He wanted to try something new, so he got married at first sight. The guy friend said to the camera that he is concerned that Elijah Juan is on the show to get attention. And that's what I said the first time I saw Elijah Juan, because he's always with his shirt off, doing something, I mean, why you're on the show to marry somebody? Why is your shirt off? Are you advertising yourself, your body for somebody? Why is your shirt off? So I said that too. Okay, so Katina goes to brunch with Crystal, who is Elijah's second mom. I don't understand that. Why is she his second mom? Is his mom gay? Is that why he has 2 moms? I don't know. So Crystal is Elijah Juan's second mom. You notice we did not see Elijah Juan's mom at all. We saw her the very first episode, but after that, or did we see her in a picture? I don't think we ever really saw her because she didn't come to the wedding, I don't think. Anywho, Katina meets up with Crystal, who is Elijah Juan's second mother, or mom. And she gives Katina an old dingy t-shirt, talking about, now you can be his cheerleader. I don't know what that's all about. Next scene is Elijah Juan and Katina. They meet up. And Katina told Elijah Juan that Crystal gave her a t-shirt and a cap. I guess she wants him to be, she used to wear that when she'd go to cheer for him. It's when he played some kind of sports. That's ridiculous. Elijah Juan tells Katina, Germani, that's the guy that was, that Elijah Juan met up with, one of Katina's friend, Germani was questioning him about being there for the right reasons. And you told him, Elijah Juan, that you were going to just try something new. That's why you should sign up for the show. So, of course, he's going to question why you're here, if you're here for the right reasons. Because you told me you just wanted to try something new. So, of course, he's going to question that. What the hell? And I think Germani was on point with the assessment of Elijah Juan, because he said he just wanted to try something new. That's why he came on the show. Anyway, so the couples pack for Puerto Rico. They find out that they're going to Puerto Rico for their honeymoon. And they all get into a van to go to the airport. Nothing happened there. They're on the plane going to Puerto Rico. And when they get to Puerto Rico, we see all the couples in one van. And then Lindsay and Mark, they're in another van. And the producers is telling the other couples that Lindsay doesn't want to ride in the van with them. Elijah once said Lindsay was trying to tell everyone what language to speak. And he said he didn't like that. He said she asked him if he spoke Spanish. And he said he knew a little, which means, no, I don't speak Spanish. And he said he doesn't speak it fluently, which means, no, he doesn't speak Spanish. He told her he planned on speaking English because that is what he is comfortable with. And she said, "You're in a native land." I guess she probably said, "You're in a native land. You should try and speak the native language." But he doesn't know how to speak Spanish, Lindsay. He doesn't. And instead of saying no, his ego would not allow him to say, "No, I don't know how to speak Spanish." Knowing two words does not mean you know how to speak Spanish, Elijah Juan. So Katina got upset, and apparently so did Jasmina. They got upset at Lindsay. And Katina said when they were walking away, Lindsay said, "I want to fight him." And that doesn't make sense to me. Why would you just say, "I want to fight him"? Lindsay has her own explanation. We'll get to that later. Lindsay has her own explanation of what happened. We'll get to that later. Katina and Elijah Juan is in their hotel room drinking champagne. Elijah Juan tells Katina he appreciated her having his back during the altercation with Lindsay. And Katina said that she don't like when females bully other people, and she said that Lindsay is shady. So Elijah Juan, he surprised me. He said, he told her to he said, "Let's look past it. We're not here for that." And I'm surprised that that's the mature way to handle the situation. And I'm surprised that he chose the mature way to handle the situation. And I agree with him. I like him better this episode than I did last episode. And I'm not being a fan of Katina because Katina don't want to let it go. She wants to be upset with Lindsay. She doesn't want anything to do with Lindsay. She want to keep this silly feud going. For what reason, I don't know. She just doesn't like Lindsay. I guess she doesn't like the fact that Lindsay has no filter. And then Elijah told Katina that she has walls up. And I didn't think he was intuitive enough to realize that. But he is. There's more to Elijah Juan than I thought. I'm liking him this episode more than I did the other 3 episodes. Or 3 episodes plus the match episode when they match everybody up. I'm liking him more this episode. Maybe he's growing on me. Okay, next is Lindsay and Mark. They are in the hotel room sitting on the sofa talking. Last scene we saw they were in bed. And in this scene, they haven't even gotten to bed yet. So the producers are just, I don't know, they're getting their editing switched around. I don't know. But in this scene, they haven't gotten to bed yet. They're talking about their mothers not being at the wedding. And Lindsay says her mother is not nice to her, which is very sad. That's so sad. Lindsay said her mother didn't tell her she wasn't coming to the wedding. Instead, she sent an email to someone saying that she wasn't going to the wedding and talk really badly about Lindsay in the email. And then Lindsay asked Mark about his mother. Mark said when his mother retired, she stopped dressing herself. She would walk around in her nightgown. And then he said, and she wouldn't leave the house. She'd walk around in her nightgown and wouldn't leave the house. And then when his father died, she didn't even want to go get herself up to go to the bathroom. And Lindsay and Mark both agreed that his mother is severely depressed. Mark said he was worried how his wife would react to his mother's situation. So they had a really nice talk. Then they got dressed for bed. The next morning, we see Lindsay at brunch with Mark's friends. And they seem to like Lindsay. She seemed to like them. And everything seems hunky-dory. Then we see Mark, he goes to lunch or to brunch with Lindsay's friends and her father. And they proceed to trash Lindsay. They just throw her under the bus. That's why this should be called throwing you under the bus. First, the messy friend gives Mark a Lindsay survival kit. And in the kit is a candy bar. She said, give this to her if she gets angry. Make her sound like a dog. You're angry, give her this and she'll be all right. Or a kid that throws tantrum. That's mean. I don't like that. And then in the bag was a button, and you press it, it says no. So whenever you don't want, you want to say no to her, just press the button no. That's so ridiculous. They probably think that's funny. I don't feel that. I don't think that's funny at all. And I'm sure Lindsay has, her personality is up there, but I'm sure there's nice things they could have said about her. But no, they choose to bash her, to throw her under the bus. And Lindsay's father says that Lindsay is vicious. Why would he say that to Mark? And Mark is sitting there looking terrified. Why would you do that? Now he has all of this stuff in his head, and he's not going to have a clean slate to get to know her. Whenever she does something that, or gets upset, he's going to be like, oh, snap. She's going to get vicious. Oh, what's going to happen? Let him find out for himself how she is. Maybe she'll be different with him. I hate that they bash her. They just throw her under the bus. That's mean. All right, so they meet up. Mark and Lindsay meet up. And she doesn't seem to care that he has that button, that no button. She thinks it's funny. I don't think it's funny. When he starts using it on her, she's not going to think it's funny. Every time she asks something, you press that button, she's going to get irritated and smack it out of his hand. Anyway, they packed to go to Puerto Rico for their honeymoon. We see Lindsay in her hotel room in Puerto Rico, and she looks sad. She looked like she's been crying, and she said they were all laughing and joking on the plane to Puerto Rico, and she said one husband got a little aggressive with her about fighting, and she said to him, you want to fight me? She goes, what, you want to fight me? Because I guess he was yelling at her and screaming at her. So she goes, what, you want to fight me? She said they were all joking, and she said he started posturing, and then he waited for it at the end of the line, and he was puffing out his chest and raising his voice at her. And she said it really triggered her, and it brought her to a place where she didn't feel comfortable. And it took her, she said it took her to her core, or shook her to her core. She said she needed a moment to feel better. And she said Mark made her feel safe and cared for. So I'm glad Mark was there for her for that. But Mark goes downstairs to talk to the group. They're all sitting downstairs having a drink. And he goes down there to talk to them. And in my opinion, he throws her under the bus. That's what this should be called. Throwing you under the bus. In my opinion, that's what he did. He threw her under the bus. Okay, Mark goes to talk to the group, and Mark hugs Juan and apologizes. He tells the group that Lindsay is always on 10. If that's not throwing your wife under the bus, then what is? And he apologizes to the group. But Katina wants nothing to do with Lindsay, which I think is very unfortunate. So Mark and Lindsay, Mark goes back up to the hotel room, and Lindsay asks Mark, how did it go? And Mark lies. Mark told Lindsay that they wanted to make sure Lindsay and Katina were good. No, they didn't. Or maybe this happened off camera, but no, they didn't. Nobody cared. Katina said she wants nothing to do with Lindsay, and nobody piped up and said anything. He said Juan wanted Lindsay to feel comfortable around them, and he wants to talk to Lindsay. He didn't say he wanted to talk to Lindsay. It may have happened off camera, but I didn't see where he said he wanted to talk to Lindsay. And Mark told Lindsay that Juan said he wanted to hug it out. I didn't hear him say that. Maybe he said it off camera, but I didn't hear him say that. And I know Mark is trying to make amends, but he shouldn't make things up. Tell the truth. Don't be lying. Don't make things up. Anywho, we're done with Lindsay and Mark. Next is Jasmina and Michael. Michael and Jasmina get dressed for bed. Jasmina here is tied up into some silk wrap. I thought she was wearing a ski mask last episode, but it's a silk wrap. Last episode she went into the bathroom, a princess, and she came out looking like that. But it didn't faze him one bit. He grew up around women, so I guess he knows us black women, we tie our hair up sometimes at night. I say sometimes because sometimes I'm too lazy to do all of that. Mike tells her that her stepfather told him that Jasmina um, told him not to let Jasmina boss him around. And I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen throughout their relationship. She's going to boss him around. And Jasmina said she's not bossy. She said she dated a guy that didn't want to argue with her. Isn't that a good thing? So I guess she bossed him around because he didn't want to argue with her. And Michael told her that you don't have to worry about that here. So I guess he's going to be arguing with her. Anyway, the next scene, they they wake up and had coffee in bed, and nothing special happened there. The next scene, Jasmina goes to have brunch with two of Michael's sister. There's a sister. It was in a green top. She has green top and red dreads. She had her titties all out. I don't know why she didn't put on a better shirt, but she had her titties all out on national TV. Anyway, one of his sister asks, "How was the night?" And instead of Jasmina answering the question, she started talking about before she got to the wedding, before she got to the altar, how nervous she was. That's what she started talking about, and they want to know how was the night. And she didn't get off the hook because after she talked about how nervous she was and how nobody liked her dress, they asked her if her and Michael consummated the marriage, which I have a problem with. That's none of your business. What two people do behind closed doors, that's their business. But she said, we did not consummate the marriage. That's none of their business. Has nothing to do with them. That's inappropriate. To ask somebody, it's inappropriate, it's rude, it's ratchet, it's insensitive, it's bad manners, it's bad taste, it's everything. You shouldn't ask somebody that. That has nothing to do with you. Nobody should ask anybody that. Now, if you feel like telling people about your sex life, then you do that. But nobody should ask you about that. So freaking rude. The sister said, be nice to him. What do you mean be nice to him? You're nice to people. People are nice to people in general, until they do something to piss them off or upset them. People are usually nice to people generally. The sister said, be nice to him. That doesn't make any sense to me. They treat Michael like a fragile little puppy. Oh, be nice to him. Be patient with him. And the sister, they throw Michael under the bus also. That should be the name of this episode. Throwing you under the bus. One of the sisters said that Michael assumes the worst because he doesn't want to be disappointed. Why tell her that? Now that's in her mind. Don't say bad things about your loved ones to anybody, especially somebody new that they're trying to get to know. Let her figure it out for herself. Let her find out for herself what type of person he is. He always assumes the worst because he doesn't want to. I'm like that too. I assume the worst. I think I get it from my mother. I assume the worst too. It's like my phone starts ringing right and I'm like, oh my God, who the hell is that? I always think it's going to be bad news. If somebody knocks on my door, I'm like, what the hell? Who's that? What do they want? If my phone rings, one time my boss called me on the weekend, I'm like, what the hell? What does she want? What's wrong? She just called to tell me, oh, it's going to snow. Be careful. I always think the worst. And I think I get it from my mother. I called my mother one time. She's probably going to watch this. Anyway, I called my mother one time and I told her, I said, Mommy, I have good news and I have bad news. She goes, Lord have mercy, Jesus Christ, what? She just automatically think I was going to say something bad. I was just messing with her. But I'm like that too. I think the phone ring, I think it's going to be bad news. I get a text, I think it's bad news. I always think something. I get mail, I'm going through my mail, look at my mail, and I don't recognize who it's from. I think it's bad news. I'm like that too. I assume the worst. But there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So Jasmine says to the camera that it's a red flag. It's not a red flag. So what if he assumes the worst before it actually happens? So what? That's normal. What are you talking about, Jasmine? He just like to live with caution. That's all. Nothing wrong with that. So chill out, Jasmine. Okay, Jasmine tells the sisters that her relationships have all been long distance. Now that's a red flag, Jasmine. You've only dated people long distance. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like Ty from Love During Lockup. She only date prisoners. She don't date people that's right in front of her face. She date people that's far away that she can't get to. And that's exactly what Jasmina does. She date people far away. Why? Why do you do that? Mm-hmm. Because you're insecure. That's what I think. That's a red flag. That means she doesn't know what it's like to be in a relationship. If every single relationship she's been in has been a long distance relationship, then she has no clue how to be in a relationship. That's a serious red flag right there. And I wonder if she told this to Mike, that all of her relationships has been long distance. I wonder if she told him that. Okay, so Mike has brunch with Jasmina's stepmother and sisters. Jasmina's stepmother tells Michael that Jasmina has seen an example of a successful marriage and a unsuccessful marriage. And she asks Michael what's his examples of marriage has been like. And he said he has no examples of marriage because his parents were never together. But he said he was raised by his mother, his grandmother, and his sisters. So he has, he says basically the same rules apply, which no. Because it seems as though all the women in Michael's life spoiled him because he's a boy and he's younger. He's the youngest. So they all seem to spoil him, shelter him, you know. And the mother said something sensible. The stepmother said something sensible to Michael. She says that he has in his mind what a good marriage should look like, but not seeing it, because he's never seen a good marriage, he said, not seeing it in motion, sometimes it loses the expectations that you think marriage should be. And I like Michael in this scene. He was honest, he listened, he was respectful, he listened to what the mother had to say, and he picked up on her concerns for Jasmina. And I liked him in this scene. And he wasn't chewing gum like he was in the last episode. Thank God. So last week I was liking Jasmina. I'm not liking her so much this week. I'm liking Michael more this week. Last week I wasn't feeling Michael. I'm feeling him more this week. So they are in their hotel room in Puerto Rico, and drinking champagne, and they're talking about the incident that happened on the plane with Elijah, Juan, and Lindsay. And Michael says that there is going to be conflict. And Jasmine does not agree with that. She thinks if everyone respects each other, they'll get along. And there will be no conflict. But Michael explains to Jasmine that they don't know each other. And people have boundaries. And if you don't know somebody and you say something, you may hit a nerve. And I agree with Michael 100%. Because it's like somebody say to me, you have a big nose. And I'm like, okay. And then somebody says to somebody else, you have a big nose. And maybe the person that they said it to, maybe they were in a car accident, they broke their nose, so that's traumatic to them. Or maybe they were in a fight and their nose got broken, that's a traumatic to them. Or maybe they were teased during high school about their nose. You don't know what someone has been through. It wouldn't faze me because I think I have a beautiful nose. It's kind of long, but I love my nose. I never had an issue with my nose. But someone who has had an issue with their nose, if you say you have a big nose, that might trigger something and that might upset them, and you don't know, because you don't know this person, you don't know the boundaries. You don't know what you can say to this person, what you can't say to this person. And that's what Michael was telling her. But she got annoyed and said that she told him she disagreed with him. They're gonna have to agree to disagree. And then she's thinking that, oh yes, his sister says that he assumes the worst. That has nothing to do with this. This is something totally different. He's not assuming the worst. He's just saying people have boundaries and we don't know each other, so we don't know what will trigger each other. That's all he's saying. He's not saying he's not assuming the worst, and she's automatically, oh, he's assuming the worst, because his sisters put that into her head. So now she can't know him on a clean slate, because in her head, she thinks that all she's thinking about is he assumes the worst. He assumes the worst. And that has nothing to do with this situation that he's talking about. So I'm not feeling Jasmina this episode. I'm feeling Michael more. Yeah, Michael, I'm feeling you. I'm not feeling Jasmina. That's enough for them. Next is Noy and Steve. We see Steve and Noy. Steve and Noy, they're so fascinated with this lollipop ring. They're in their hotel room. And she's sitting on the bed. He's on one knee, and he's slipping the lollipop ring on her finger. And they think it's just the funniest little thing. They're just tickled pink with this lollipop ring. So they change for bed, and they get into bed and they cuddle. And she's wearing her glasses. Why are you wearing glasses to bed? What are you trying to see? She's wearing her glasses. Next morning, they wake up and have breakfast in bed. And Steve says to the cameraman that they did not have sex. They did not consummate their marriage. And I don't think she should have sex with him until he gets a job. Okay, Noy goes to meet Steve's parents for brunch. And they're all wearing shades. So nobody can see anybody's eyes. And Noy starts talking about the sash that she put on Steve at the wedding. And she starts to get emotional. This is what I don't like about Noy from the very get-go, from the very first episode when they were doing the matching. Every time she talks about something, her childhood or something, she starts crying, getting emotional and starts crying. She's just too emotional. I bet you she's going to cry every single episode. She cries at the drop of a dime. She's just too emotional for me. So yeah, she told his parents the importance of the sash that she put on Steve. And then she starts to cry. And then his father mentioned Steve not having a job. And he says Steve is a vagabond. That's what throwing his son under the bus. But it's true. But he's throwing his son. This episode should be called Throwing You Under the Bus. Alexa, what's a vagabond?
As a noun, vagabond can have a few meanings. 1. A person, usually without a permanent home, who wanders from place to place, nomad. 2. An idle wanderer without a permanent home or visible means of support, tramp, vagrant. 3. A carefree, worthless, or irresponsible person, rogue.
There you go. That's what a vagabond is. That's what his father said. His father said Steve is a vagabond, a tramp, a homeless person just wandering around. All he wants to do is travel. That's what his father says. And Noy says they really haven't talked about it. And I don't understand why Steve gets married if he wants to just wander around the world. If he just wants to wander around, why get married? Why marry someone? Why tie yourself to someone if you want to be a free spirit? You want to be free. You want to just wander around. Why tie yourself to someone? So Steve goes to brunch with Noy's family. Noy's brother Michael. I didn't like him last episode because he was asking Steve if him and Noy was gonna consummate the marriage, which was none of his damn business, and I didn't like that. But this episode, I'm liking him. He is dressed as in drag, and he calls himself Sriracha, and he looks good as Sriracha. He looks better than Michael. I'm liking Sriracha. Sriracha took it to Steve, boy. Sriracha asked the questions that needed to be asked. Yes, Sriracha did. Let me see what he asked Steve. He asked Steve, why does he travel? And Steve says to reconnect with himself. Now, I don't want to see the sights. I want to learn about the country. I want to, go to different places. He wants to reconnect with himself. That's why he travels. So you have to travel in order to reconnect with yourself? What's that all about? Why is this side puffy and this side flat? Anyway, yeah, he said, Yeah, he wants what do you say? He wants to reconnect with himself. And I don't understand why you have to travel in order to reconnect with yourself. And Noy's sister asks Steve if he is considering getting a stable job. And Steve basically tells her, no, he's not getting a job. He's doing freelance. He freelances. And Sriracha, I love Sriracha. I just love Sriracha. Sriracha asks Steve, how soon is he thinking about having kids? He says, you're 38. That means, man, you're almost 40. When are you going to have kids? And Steve says he doesn't want to rush into having kids. That means Steve don't want no damn kids. That's what that means. Steve want to be free to travel the world, and he don't want no kids, bringing him down, hanging on his coattail. So Sriracha asks, what are your plans to financially be responsible for your future children? And Steve said different people have different expectations of what they want out of life. Steve don't want no kids. Steve don't want no kids. And Sriracha said, what do you want out of life? And they didn't show Steve answering the question. And Noy's mother said she wants grandkids. And she said, if you're going to have a baby, you have to have a job first. And that's it. Steve don't want no kids. Steve does not want a kid. Steve does not want a job. Steve just wants to travel the world. I don't understand why he got married. Why did he come on this show? And I believe that Steve is on this show for an adventure. He's just on another adventure. He does not want a wife. He does not want a kid. He does not want a stable job. He just wants to be a nomad or be a vagabond and wander the world for the rest of his life. That's what he wants to do. And I think it's pretty shitty of him to come on this show and marry someone when he doesn't want a wife. He doesn't want a kid. He doesn't want a job. He just wants to do what the hell Steve wants to do. So Noy and Steve meet up, and Noy tells Steve that his father mentioned him being jobless. And Noy asks him, what are your plans for working? And Steve basically said that we'll discuss this some other time. Why not discuss it now? What other time are you going to discuss it? Steve is not planning. Steve is not planning on getting a stable job. He's planning on just freelancing. And if he's happy doing that, that's great. And if you're happy being a nomad or a vagabond or one in the world, that's great. But don't get a wife and then do it. But if you're dating someone and she knows that this is how you are, you want to wander the world, you don't want a job, you want to freelance, you don't want kids, that's fine because this person knows you. But you're marrying someone at first sight who doesn't know any of this. Steve. Okay, so she asks him, he said he'll discuss it later. And he says, what did he say? He says, Steve basically said they will have a discussion if and where he will commit to a job. If and where he'll commit to a job. If. He does not want a stable job. In her confessional, Noy said she wants children and she needs a partner who is financially stable. I don't think she should have sex with him. And if he doesn't change his mindset, then when decision day comes, dump him, leave, walk out. Say, this is not the one I want for me. He doesn't want to have kids. He doesn't want to have a stable job. He doesn't want what I want. Anyway, that's enough for them. Last but not least, Alyssa and Chris. We see Alyssa and Chris getting into an elevator. She's carrying her ugly gold cowboy boots. And then and she's holding her dress up. Another pet peeve of mine. And then a producer looks like a producer got into the elevator with them. Because I guess she's afraid of being alone with Chris. Which I think is unfounded because he hasn't done anything to her. Okay, they go to a room together and Chris asks Alyssa if she wanted to talk off camera. And she said, not tonight, it's late. Then she tells him the same thing she said to him in the lobby. She says she's uncomfortable with some of the things that was said to her. And then Chris says, things that were said by who? And she said, let's sleep on it and talk about it tomorrow. She doesn't want to talk about it because she knows she's like pulling crap out of the sky to act, to pretend that, that he's such a horrible person, to show that he's such a horrible person. And she knows if she was saying, well, your friend said you're condescending, she's going to be like, that's what they say. Get to know me and find out if that's true. That doesn't have anything to do with anything. Why? I mean, anyway. She doesn't want to say that's the reason she doesn't want to share a room with him. But the reason she doesn't want to share a room with him is because she's not attractive. We all know that. I think she wants to be alone so she can write a list, a fabricated list of things she doesn't like about him and use that to say, we're not compatible. We're not compatible. I bet you if they had given her an Adonis, an attractive guy, a hot guy according to her, with perfect teeth, I bet you if they had given her a perfect guy and his friends were to say, oh, he's condescending, she wouldn't give a damn. She wouldn't care. Mm-hmm. All right, see. So Alyssa, she leaves out and she goes to her room. And Chris is wondering if he or his friend said or did something wrong. Okay, the next day, Chris told the camera that he and Alyssa sat down and talked at 2:30 in the morning. And she told him that they just don't vibe. Next, we see Alyssa comes to Chris. She comes to Chris's room and they sit down and talk. And basically what I got out of that conversation is she doesn't think that they are compatible. And she says she wants to try to have a good experience. I think she spoke with the producers and they told her to just tough it out. That's what I think. Because it's good TV. We all want to see what's going to happen. And Alyssa, she always have this stink face. Her face is never ever pleasant. She always has this look on her face that's horrible. It's a horrible look on her face, like she smells something. Like she smells something foul or something. I don't know. So Chris meets with Alyssa's mother and her friend for brunch. And Chris tells them that Alyssa does not think they are compatible. And the mother is shocked. And the mother is so sweet. She's being really nice and caring to Chris. And she basically tells him to give it time. And the friend said that she thinks Alyssa is being rash. And she is because she just because she doesn't like the way he look on the outside. She has canceled him out. She's just. And the mother thinks that Chris is she thinks that Chris is the one for Alyssa. And Alyssa thinks she's too good for him. She thinks she's too good for Chris. I think she needs a reality check. So Alyssa goes to have brunch with Chris's mother and friend, and they throw him under the bus. Chris's friend throws Chris under the bus, and that's what this episode should be called. I'm throwing you under the bus. Chris' mother thinks that Chris and Alyssa are a good match. And Alyssa, she can't tell Chris' mother that that she thinks that that she feels uncomfortable with Chris. She can't tell his mother that because that's embarrassing. She can't tell his mother that. She's scared to tell his mother that. Because, she just... Anywho. And then Chris' friends throws Chris under the bus. He just gives Alyssa another ammunition to shoot Chris with. He's condescending. Boom, that's one. He's this. Boom, that's two. He's that. Boom, that's three. You know what he tells her? He tells her that Chris work come first. So he's telling her that his work will come before you. Why would you do that? Chris is a single guy, and he's working because he's a single guy. He's married now. He may change his schedule. You don't know that. Don't tell her that. You don't know. That these friends who are always throwing you under the bus, boy, I tell you. But you know what I think? I don't think Chris should worry. I think he should just keep being the way he is, be nice, and somebody out there will see him on this show, and they will blow his phone up or his DM, slide into his DM, and he'll get a girl from this. He'll get a girl. He'll get somebody. He'll get a whole bunch of girls. Okay. So when they found out they were going to Puerto Rico, Chris asked Alyssa how does she feel about going on the trip with him and everyone else. And Alyssa says she wants to see the other couples. She wants to see the other couples, and she wants to spend time with other couples. The other couples don't want to spend time with you, Alyssa. They have each other. They're trying to get to know their spouses. They don't want anything to do with you. So Chris suggests they go shopping when they go to Puerto Rico. Or go exploring. And she said no, she don't want to do none of that. She just want to sit on the beach. And I watched somebody else's review on this show for last week, and they said Alyssa is boring. And they're right. Alyssa is boring. She's in a beautiful island. She's going to a beautiful island, and all she wants to do is sit on the beach. Okay, Alyssa. That's all she wants to do. And while they're in Puerto Rico, Chris talks to the camera, and he said Alyssa does not interact with him at all. And we see it. She doesn't walk beside him. She doesn't speak to him. She doesn't acknowledge him. She doesn't sit beside him. She pretends that he's not there. She pretends that he has body odor or something. He has the plague or something. She totally ignores him. Anyway, next we see Chris and Alyssa. They're in a hotel room. I don't know which hotel room they're in, whose hotel room they're in. And then they go on the balcony to talk. And Chris, he got real with her. He told her that she came in expecting the perfect person, and when she got somebody who wasn't, she just said to herself, "I'm done." And he said, "You tapped out." And then he asked her if she think she gave it a chance. And she said, yes, she gave it a chance. Then she asked him she said, "Do you think I'm lying?" And he said, yes. So now she runs to the producer and said, "He just called me a liar." You asked him a question. He said you didn't give it a chance. You're saying, yes, I did give it a chance. And then she said, "You think I'm lying?" And he says, "Yes, I think you're lying." And she runs to the producers and said, "Oh, he called me a liar." Oh my God. Chris called her out on her bull, and she couldn't handle it, so she runs off. And next thing we see her, she's sitting on the couch with her hat over her head. She's so freaking ashamed, and she should be ashamed of herself. I want her to quit the show. I want her to just quit the show and pay these people back all the money that they spent on her. Okay, so we see them talking again, and I'm pretty sure it's the producers that make them talk. Producers is forcing them to talk. And she's not only pissed off that he called her a liar, she's pissed off that he told her mother that she said that they weren't compatible with each other. She's pissed off at that. So what? He told the truth. She goes, "No, you shouldn't have told her that. You shouldn't have told her that." Man, girl, shut up. She's pissed because she feels guilty. I think she feels guilty for being superficial. She does. Deep down, that chick feels guilty for being superstitious. And if I was Chris, I would treat her exactly the way she treats me. I would ignore her. I would pretend she doesn't exist. I wouldn't walk nowhere near her. I wouldn't sit nowhere near her. I wouldn't talk to her. I wouldn't acknowledge her. And I know that sounds childish, but when people treat you like shit, If you allow somebody to treat you like crap, they will constantly treat you like crap. And she's treating him like crap. So I would give her exactly what she's giving back. She is ignoring him, I would ignore her. She's not talking to him, I wouldn't talk to her. I wouldn't even try to talk to her. I wouldn't even say hi, hello, good morning. I would pretend she's not there, and I would enjoy myself in Puerto Rico. That's what I would do. Screw that. Anyway, that's the end of them. This is the end of my review / recap. I will be back next week for another review. If you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and please like my video, comment on my video, and share my video. That's it. That's all I got. Princess on a Pillow here. See you next week. I can't wait for next week. It's supposed to be really, really good. Thank you so very, very much for watching. Bye.